Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. Today we're going to talk about, can you refute the philosophers or the logicians in Islamic history? Is it possible to refute the philosophers? We're going to look at two people, Imam al Ghazali and Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah. Okay, we're going to Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam al Ghazali. Now, these two individuals, if you have read some of their works, they've attempted to like refute maybe philosophy, like the Imam Al Ghazali's work, The Incoherence of the Philosophers, or uh, uh, Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah. He tried to like refute the logicians and some things like that. So now we're asking the question: is it possible? So I recently saw a quote that says that if you try to refute philosophy or logic, your two things can happen. Okay, or let's say three. Is it that you're just going to dismiss it? But if you try to take it seriously, to refute it seriously, in a detailed way, it's either you're going to become another philosopher, okay? You're just going to offer arguments that people are like, oh, that makes sense. You're just you're going to become another philosopher or another logician, or you're going to become the best philosopher or the best logician, such that you must have had a deep understanding of the topic to even dismiss it. So is it that you're just going to offer a bad argument and philosophers will be like, oh, he has a point, but we don't agree with you. He's not strong enough. And you just become another name. And that's exactly what has happened. Or you are going to become the best philosopher, such that even them they will recognize you like this guy has done a good job, but you're still a philosopher. You're still a logician. You cannot refute it seriously without becoming one of them. So now, there's a modern thing about, I think he's shaking with them here. They, I think some Salafis and stuff like that, they argue like, is he a philosopher? He's not a philosopher. How can you say he's a philosopher and stuff? That's not the point. You're missing the point. He attempted to refute, I think maybe the logicians more, logic, in a serious way. When you try to do that in a serious way, you must have read wide. You will read a lot of works from them to be able to refute it. Won't you do that? When you read their works, in a way, you're going to engage with that work. And when you try to engage, you're going to use a system that makes sense. When you try to do that, when people, generations later, when they read your work, they will see you as, like I listed you, is either just another person offering philosophical arguments, or maybe you have actually done the job and they'll say you are like the best logician, the best philosopher for you to have understood it. Like if you look at modern day world, like contemporarily, you had people like Ludwig Wittgenstein, or even the logical positivists. They've attempted to like refute philosophy. Like people overhype philosophy sometimes, and it's not necessary. It shouldn't be like that. Okay, so you have people like all those logical positivists. They try to remove metaphysics and all this stuff. Let's just talk about language and stuff. They try to do that, and you can see like they are still philosophers because they understood the field for them to even attempt to do that. So when you come today and you try to talk about philosophy, you don't know like the people that refuted philosophy in the past, they actually read the works of the philosophers. They actually understood. They read out their works and they took it in and they then gave a logical answer. When you try to give logical answer, you either become another philosopher or another logician, or you become the best. Now, people will say, "You are. What do you mean, Imam Al Ghazali refuted philosophy?" It wasn't like if you read his work, it wasn't really refuting philosophy or logic. At least he accepted logic. From Imam Al Ghazali, he accepted like logic is it has no anyone can use logic. It doesn't have a the origin of logic is just you as a human being ability to reason. Okay, maybe you're using a particular methodology, but it doesn't mean it's false. Okay, so Imam Al Ghazali, he will accept logic. Then, was he refuting philosophy really? Was he really doing that? No, he wasn't really refuting philosophy. He was refuting like the philosopher Ibn Sina and people like this. That's what he was trying to refute. Okay, and guess what? Guess what? People like Ibn Rushd, when Ibn Rushd wrote his own work, The Incoherence of the Incoherence. Okay, you know Imam Al Ghazali wrote The Incoherence of the Philosophers. Then Ibn Rushd wrote The Incoherence of the Incoherence. What was his charge against Imam al Ghazali? He actually made a charge against Imam al Ghazali that in your attempt to refute the philosophers, you are making philosophy popular to the common people. So because that's what actually usually happens. It's like you just leave them alone. But if you go and try to engage with them, you're going to become one of them, or you become the best of them, like I said earlier. So you were saying like you're just assumed you now you have taught the people philosophy. Now the people cannot understand. That was Ibn Rushd charge against Imam al-Ghazali. But the point is, Imam al-Ghazali wasn't really against philosophy per se, but particular understanding of it in relation to Islam. Okay, so things like some of the views of Ibn Sina on the eternity of the universe or some things like that, or knowledge of particulars and universals. And so those are the things that he was against. Okay. It wasn't against philosophy per se, or it wasn't against logic. Definitely not. Now, the one of Ibn Taymiyyah, okay, there was, by the way, there were some people they just said no logic, but that thing is self-refuting. It's self-refuting. That's the whole point of this thing. It's self-refuting when you attack things like logic. You cannot refute logic. Okay, you can you can even dismiss philosophy, but you'll be doing it whether you like it or not, because you're not the one that will decide what is philosophy. So if you write a work and it looks like philosophy, people will take it as philosophy. So when Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah, when he attempted to refute these people, he read their works. I think I even saw like a quote from him from the book of Ibn Rushd. He literally was quoting from Ibn Rushd something. Would you like the way people often see this as if they just came up with things on their own? Yeah, they did that, but they had to engage with the material. When you attempt to engage with the material, you will see like you are going to offer logical answers, logical reasons for your positions. And is either going to be accepted as the best argument or just another argument in the list of arguments. And you cannot do it. That's the whole point. So have you guys experienced something like this? Like, can you actually do this? And by the way, let me add another one to the list. Science. Imagine someone trying to refute science. Is either going to become another scientist that will offer his own view on the way things are, or he's going to become the best scientist. He has to engage with the material and show why this one is false, why that one is false. Science, okay? Like you can just say if they tell you like the earth is flat or round, you can just say, I don't care, leave me alone. I don't want to know if the earth is flat or round. But if you want to really make arguments, you're going to have to know science. You're going to become a scientist and then show them where they are where they have wrong arguments or stuff. Because you are part of the tradition now. They cannot say you don't know what you're saying. So you're going to become part of them while you're trying to refute them. So that's the is it like a paradox? That's the issue. So I just felt like this is interesting. So if you see many people contemporary trying to refute philosophy, saying no logic, no philosophy, we don't use our logic. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Do you even know what you're saying? You have to use logic. You cannot refute logic. It's self-refuting. If you refute logic, whatever you say afterwards can just be dismissed as illogical. Like illogical, right? But you want to be logical. You want people to get what you're saying. But I understand. Maybe the strand they are trying to refute, like for instance, Imam al-Ghazali, you just disagree with them on that position. Okay, so it's not really philosophy. You can just say the incoherence of the philosophy of Ibn Sina and the likes of this, and those guys too will make their own arguments back. They will not accept it. That's why they will not consider him as the best philosopher. He just became another philosopher in that sense because it's a broad field. Many people, many thinkers. Some people even put religious, like prophets, that they are philosophers. Some people will do this, but it's not. We might not accept it in that language, but they can look at their works and be like, they are actually. It makes sense. Like anything that makes sense, sometimes they just get added. Do you understand? So I just wanted to share this video with you. What do you guys think about this? Put your comments in the or your views in the comment section. See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.